Chapter 5. A thin fog rolled across the moor as they traveled east, their boots and paws leaving faint impressions in the slick grass. The air was quiet, too quiet, the kind of silence that made even Azarael's easy stride tighten. By mid-morning, the fog thinned enough to reveal a cluster of low buildings tucked into a shallow valley, stone walls, thatched roof, smoke curling from crooked chimneys. At first glance, it could have been any village. "Doesn't look like much," Marcus said, scanning the narrow dirt lanes. Azarael didn't slow. "That's what worries me." They crossed into the village. People moved about, a few at wells drawing water, a few stacking firewood, but none of them met Marcus's gaze, not one. They kept their eyes down, their movements deliberate, mechanical. "Friendly," Marcus muttered. "Too friendly." Azarael corrected. "No one here's afraid of you. That's not natural." Marcus's hand brushed the hilt of his sword as his eyes tracked a young boy kicking a wooden hoop down the lane. The child's head turned just enough for Marcus to see his face. The eyes were wrong, glassy pale, reflecting the light like an animal's in the dark. Azarael led him towards the village square, where a small, weathered chapel leaned against the fog as they approached. The low murmur of voices drifted from within. They stepped through the door. The dim interior smelled of incense, and damp stone villagers knelt in the pews, muttering in unison. Heads bowed so low their faces were hidden. At the altar stood a tall man in a black tunic, his back to them. "You've come far," the man said without turning. His voice was smooth, too smooth. "And for what?" "To die here." Azarael's hand drifted toward his bow. Marcus stepped forward. "We've come for the Shadow Court's hold on this place." The man laughed softly, finally turning. His eyes were the same as the boy's, glassy pale. But his skin was pale in another way, stretched thin over sharp cheekbones. "Hold? There is no hold. There is only truth, and the truth is, we belong to the dark." He stepped back from the altar, and something rippled across his form. The tunic tore as black scale-like plates forced their way through his skin. His hands warped into talons, his face lengthened into a sharp, muzzled grin lined with teeth too long for any man's mouth. The villagers rose in unison, their heads snapping toward Marcus and Azarael, their mouths hung open in silent anticipation. "Champion," Azarael muttered, already losing an arrow at one of the villagers who lunged forward. The champion blurred forward, swinging a wicked, curved blade. Marcus caught it on his flaming sword, the clash ringing like a struck bell. Sparks and golden flame flew. The duel was a whirlwind. The champion was fast, faster than Marcus expected for his size. Each strike came from a new angle, forcing Marcus back step by step toward the chapel doors. "You fight like prey," the champion snarled. Marcus's muzzle curled into a grin. "And you die like one." He lunged forward, sword sweeping low in a brutal arc. The champion parried but overextended, leaving his side open. Marcus slammed his shoulder into him, sending him crashing into the altar hard enough to splinter the wood. The villagers screamed and surged forward, but Azarael's arrows cut them down one by one. The champion roared and came at Marcus again. Their blades locked in the center of the chapel, sparks falling between them like burning snow. Marcus pushed forward, muscles straining, the golden cross on his breastplate flaring with holy light. The champion hissed, eyes narrowing against the glow. "It burns." "Good." Marcus growled and drove his sword through the champion's chest. The golden fire erupted, burning through armor, flesh and bone. The body crumpled to the floor, already turning to ash. The villagers' glassy eyes cleared one by one. Confusion replaced the blank obedience. Some wept openly. Azarael lowered his bow. Well, he said that was subtle. Marcus sheathed his sword, wasn't trying to be. Deep within the black halls of the Shadow Court, the war room was lit by braziers that burned with unnatural green fire. Kael stood at the head of a long obsidian table, his helm resting before him, its beast-like visage glowering in the light. A kneeling servant kept his head bowed low. A champion has fallen, my lord. The wolf burns them. Kael's voice was low and cold. Then we will burn him back. He turned toward a shadowed alcove. From it stepped a figure in long black robes, his face hidden behind a mask of twisted iron. He carried a scroll bound with blood-red ribbon. It is ready. The masked figure said the forging has begun. The weapon will pierce even the armor of heaven's chosen. Kael's gaze hardened, and it will kill them both, the wolf and his golden-eyed archer. The masked figure inclined his head. It will bring them down. The wolf's light will falter, the archer's aim will fail. A cruel smile tugged at Kael's lips. Good, then build it faster. I want the wolf to hear its song before it strikes him down. He turned back to the table, running a gauntleted hand over a map dotted with Shadow Court banners. His voice dropped to a growl. Let him run. Let him think himself untouchable. And when the time is right, I will drive that weapon through his heart and grind his bones to dust beneath my heel. Chapter 6. The Warning. They left the village at dawn. The air was crisp and heavy with the smell of wet earth after the night's rain. The villagers had offered them food and shelter, but Marcus had refused. He didn't want their thanks, not when the Shadow Court would come looking for vengeance. Azarael walked in silence beside him, the fog curling around their boots for once. Even he had nothing sharp to say. By midday, they had put the valley behind them, following a winding trail into the high hills. The land here was wild, wind-scoured rocks, stubborn grass clinging to the slopes, and the distant cry of hawks circling overhead. When they stopped to rest, Marcus stood at the edge of a cliff, watching the horizon. That was when the air changed. The wind stilled. The light shifted, and a presence vast, weighty, impossible to ignore, settled over him like a mantle. Marcus. The voice came from everywhere and nowhere, deep as the roots of the earth and bright as the heart of the sun. He fell to one knee. Head bowed, I hear you. The shadow grows restless. Greater foes than you have yet faced move against you now. The enemy will not send champions alone. They will send nightmares, born to break you. Marcus's voice was steady. I will not break. Then sharpen yourself. The time is near when your howl alone will not bring them down. The sword is yours, but you must become the hand that wields it. The weight lifted. The wind returned, but Marcus remained kneeling for a long moment, letting the echo of the words settle in his bones. Azarael found him still there, arms folded, watching with an unreadable expression. You look like you've seen a ghost, he said, though his voice lacked its usual teasing edge. Not a ghost, Marcus said quietly. A warning. Azarael studied him for a beat, then gave a faint nod towards the trail. Then we'd better get to work. They reached the monastery by mid-afternoon. What had once been a grand stone stronghold stood broken by time and siege, shattered arches, ivy-covered walls, and a courtyard littered with collapsed columns. The wind moved through the open windows like a restless spirit. This place Azarael said, voice low. Was once a sanctuary for warriors of the light, now it's ours. Training began at once. Azarael pushed him harder than ever before, speed drills through cloisters lined with broken statues, darting between the shadows of fallen saints, swordplay in the echoing great hall, where every clash of blades rang like thunder against stone. Agility trials followed, vaulting over beams, twisting midair, landing silently on all fours. You're heavy, Azarael said after Marcus stumbled through a landing. I'm armored, Marcus growled. Then move like it isn't there. Days blurred together, Marcus rose with the sun, trained until dusk painted the sky in blood-red streaks and collapsed into dreamless sleep beneath the ruined rafters. His soreness faded, his reflexes sharpened. The sword no longer felt like a tool, it moved with him, burned with him. Each strike trailed silver light, each howl cracked the air sharper than before. One evening, as the twilight settled thick over the monastery ruins, a crow landed on the low wall beside them. Its feathers were blacker than pitch and its eyes shimmered faintly red. Azarael's ears flicked back messenger. The bird opened its beak. The voice that came from within was not a bird's. It was low, rasping, and full of malice. They know you're ready, they're coming. The crow's head twisted unnaturally, its neck bones snapping with a sharp crack, and it collapsed lifeless onto the stone. Marcus stared at the body for a moment. Then he looked at Azarael and said evenly, "Good saves us. The trouble of finding them." They smelled it before they saw it. The wind carried the acrid bite of charred wood and burned flesh down from the hills ahead. Marcus slowed, the golden light in his eyes dimming to a cold, narrow gleam. By the time they reached the ridge, a black haze hung over the valley like a funeral shroud. The town below was gone. Not defeated, not abandoned, but erased skeletal frames of houses jutted from a carpet of ash like the ribs of long dead beasts. Azarael said nothing as they descended the slope, his jaw tightened, but his gaze stayed forward. The silence was worse than the sight. No wind stirred the ruins, no dogs barked, no voices called for help. Only the occasional groan of burned timber shifting in the cooling air. Marcus stepped over the charred remains of a cart. The wheel gave under his weight, spokes collapsing into black powder. His pawed hand tightened on the hilt of his sword. Bodies lay where they had fallen. Some curled in on themselves as if shielding from the flames, others sprawled in the open, struck down mid-flight. There had been no mercy here, not from the fire and not from the hands that had unleashed it. Azarael crouched beside a blackened post, tracing deep gouges in the wood. Blades, he murmured. They cut them down before they lit it. Marcus didn't answer. He had stopped near the ruined well at the center of town. Something small and pale lay half buried in the ash. He knelt and brushed it free. It was a doll. One side of the little cloth face was scorched black, the button eyes warped into melted lumps, the dress hung in tatters, one arm dangled by a few stubborn threads. Marcus turned it over in his paw, his breath caught in his throat. He knew this doll. Elsie's doll. The memory struck hard, a sunlit day from another life when he had been human. A little girl no taller than his knee, clutching the doll to her chest as she'd shyly asked if he was really a knight. He'd told her yes, she'd laughed and pressed the doll into his hand, saying, "Then she's safe now." Marcus closed his eyes and bowed his head over the ruined toy. His chest rose and fell once, twice, before he tucked the doll gently inside his cloak. When he stood, his golden eyes burned hotter than the flames that had swallowed the town. Azarael was watching him in silence. "I've seen that look before," he said. Marcus's voice was low, edged in steel. "Then you know what comes next." They followed the killer's trail north. The Shadow Court soldiers hadn't bothered to hide their passage. Muddy tracks cut deep into the road, ash scattered like a dark breadcrumb trail once. A torn strip of black cloak fluttered from a thorn bush. By late afternoon, Marcus could smell them. The sour reek of corruption carried on the wind. Azarael touched his bowstring. We could hit them now, take them before they make camp. Marcus didn't even glance at him. His voice was quiet, but there was a weight to it that made the air feel heavier. No, let them settle. Let them think they're safe. Azarael frowned. Safe from what? Marcus's eyes never left the camp below. The golden light in them had shifted. No longer the steady gleam of a night, but the sharp, searing burn of something far more dangerous. Safe from me. A chill threaded through Azarael's spine. He'd seen Marcus fight before, seen him stand in the thick of battle, outnumbered and unflinching, his blade cutting through darkness like sunlight through fog. But this was different. This was personal. The way Marcus's paw flexed on the hilt of his sword, the way his shoulders hunched ever so slightly forward. It wasn't the stance of a knight preparing for a duel. It was the crouch of a predator ready to strike. Azarael realized he didn't know if he was prepared for what Marcus was about to unleash. The knight's jaw was set like stone. His breath came slow. Deliberate, his golden eyes burned as if they could set the camp ablaze on their own. "I've never seen you like this," Azarael said finally. Marcus's voice was a low growl. "Then remember it, because tonight there will be no mercy." Azarael swallowed, his grip tightening on his bow for the first time since they'd met. He wondered if even the Shadow Court understood what kind of storm was about to break over them. Night fell. The killers made camp in a shallow hollow, ringed by low rock walls. 3 fires burned, orange light spilling over their scarred, tattooed faces. They laughed and drank, tossing bones into the flames. But their laughter masked something else. A covered wagon sat at the far edge of the camp, its canvas sides reinforced with black iron bands. Etched in runes, 2 of the soldiers guarded it closely, never straying far. Azarael's eyes narrowed. They've brought something with them, something Kael doesn't want falling into anyone's hands. Marcus studied the wagon for a long moment. Its canvas sides were reinforced with black iron bands, each one etched in twisting runes that caught the firelight like oil on water. 2 guards lingered close, never taking their eyes off it. "That's no supply cart." "No," Azarael said quietly. "Whatever's in there, it's meant for us, part of whatever Kael's planning to finish this fight." Marcus's paw flexed on the hilt of his sword, the golden fire beginning to stir along its edge. Then tonight, he said, it doesn't leave this camp. Azarael glanced sideways at him. "This isn't going to be subtle, is it?" Marcus's gaze stayed fixed on the camp. "No." The killers laughed around their fires, passing skins of stolen wine, their voices jagged and ugly in the still night. Shadows leapt and twisted across the rocks with every flicker of flame. From the ridge above, Marcus watched them, the doll pressed against his chest under his cloak like a stone against his heart. The golden light in his eyes smoldered low, but it was the banked glow of a furnace before it roars to life. Azarael crouched beside him, bow ready. "You tell me when," he whispered. Marcus didn't answer. He was already moving. He slipped down the slope, cloak whispering over stone. His pawed feet found the softest ground. Every movement silent, deliberate. The nearest sentry never saw him. Marcus was on him in a blink, his paw closing around the man's throat. A twist, a wet crack, and the body sagged lifeless. The flaming sword flared briefly as Marcus drove it into the corpse, the holy fire devouring it before it hit the ground. He moved like a shadow given teeth. Another soldier glanced up from the fire just in time to see Marcus's claws rake across his face, blinding him. The sword followed an instant later, cleaving him in two. By the time the alarm rose, Marcus was already in the heart of the camp. The golden blaze roared to life along his sword. He didn't fight like a man. He fought like the storm itself. One lunged with a spear. Marcus ripped it from his hands and drove the blunt end through the man's face with bony, splintering force. Another tried to flank him. Marcus met him with a swipe of his claws that laid his throat open to the spine. The killers broke formation in panic, tripping over each other in the firelight. Azarael's arrow sang from the ridge, dropping those who tried to flee, but even he found himself hesitating, watching Marcus tear through the shadow-caught soldiers with a savagery that went beyond anything he had ever seen. Marcus grabbed one man by the back of the head and slammed his face into the wagon's iron-bound wheel hard enough to crush bone. Another begged for mercy, sobbing as Marcus closed in. You gave none. Marcus growled before ramming his burning blade straight through the man's chest, holding him there until the golden fire burned him hollow. When the last soldier fell, silence rolled through the camp, broken only by the hiss and crackle of the fires. Marcus turned to the wagon. The iron bands gleamed dully in the firelight, runes shifting faintly over their surface like oil on water. Azarael approached cautiously, bow still in hand. Whatever's in there, it's why they were here. And I'd wager it's tied to whatever Kael's building for you. Marcus stepped closer, paw tracing one of the runes without touching it. His muzzle curled in distaste. Feels wrong, heavy like it's already tasted blood. Azarael's gaze sharpened weapon components forged for something big or something personal. Marcus's golden eyes narrowed to slits for me. He gripped the wagon's frame. Wood and iron groaned under his claws. The runes flared once a sickly, pulsing red, before Marcus tore the entire side away with a roar. Inside, wrapped in black silk, lay a half-finished axe head. Its edge was dark steel, but the core shimmered faintly with an oily, unnatural light. Azarael's expression darkened Kael's. Marcus said nothing. He seized the axe head in one paw, and golden fire roared up his arm. The metal screamed as the holy light seared it, runes boiling away into smoke. Marcus didn't stop until nothing remained but warped slag and drifting ash. He dropped the remains at his feet. Let him build another, I'll break that too. Azarael smirked faintly, though there was no humor in it. Then let's make sure he hears about it. Marcus gave the camp one last sweep with his gaze, as if searching for anything left standing, anything still breathing. There was nothing. The reckoning was complete. At the Shadow Court stronghold, The black halls of the Shadow Court whispered with the sound of distant chains and slow. Deliberate footsteps, sickly green fire guttered in iron sconces, casting warped shadows across the jagged stone walls. Kael sat in his throne of iron and bone, one gauntleted hand resting on the armrest, the other drumming against the haft of a great war axe, the weapon still incomplete, its head conspicuously absent. The heavy doors groaned open, and two soldiers stumbled in. Mud-streaked and pale, one was missing a helm. The other still had blood spattered down his cheek that wasn't his own. They dropped to their knees before the throne, heads bowed so low their foreheads scraped the floor. "My lord," one began, voice shaken. "The wagon, it destroyed." Kael's voice was low, but it rolled through the chamber like a coming storm. His gaze fixed on them, golden irises burning faintly behind the black slits of his helm. "Tell me which of you struck him down." Neither answered. Kael rose slowly from the throne. Every movement deliberate, predatory, he descended the dais, each step echoing in the vast hall. "You let the wolf tear through your camp," Kael said, circling them like a beast sizing up its prey. "You let him touch my work. You let him burn it to ash." The soldier on the left swallowed hard. We fought, my lord, but he..." Steel flashed. Kael's axe haft smashed across the man's face, sending him sprawling in a heap, teeth clattering across the stone. "You fought?" Kael's voice sharpened, dripping with contempt. "Then show me his pelt hanging on the wall. Show me his sword shattered at your feet." The other soldier dared a glance upward. He's not mortal, my lord. He fights like..." Kael's gauntlet closed around his throat, lifting him off the floor. "Like what?" Kael demanded. The man's voice rasped, like the stories say, like judgment itself. For a heartbeat, Kael was silent. Then slowly, he let the soldier drop, gasping for breath. "Judgment," Kael repeated, his tone dark with amusement. "Then let us prepare the sentence." He turned toward the far wall, where a massive workbench stood draped in shadow. Upon it lay black steel shards, vials of powdered bone, strips of cured demon hide. The forge nearby glowed faintly, the air shimmering with heat. "My axe will be finished," Kael said, almost to himself. The head he destroyed was nothing. A draft, the final one, will drink his blood. His gaze snapped back to the soldiers, cold and merciless. "You will fetch the smiths double the pace, bring them the list of rites I've prepared. And if they ask why..." He leaned forward, the gold of his eyes burning like molten metal. "Tell them the wolf has earned my personal attention." The soldiers scrambled to obey, half dragging the injured man out of the hall. Kael turned back to the forge, the faint hiss of steel meeting heat filling the silence. His gauntleted fingers traced the haft of the unfinished axe like a promise. "Run, wolf," he murmured. "Howl at the moon, tear through my soldiers when next we meet." His voice dropped to a cold whisper. "I will be the one who leaves nothing but ash." The general. The wind from the high peaks came sharp and cold, carrying the faint scent of steel. Marcus's ears twitched toward the sound, a deliberate scrape of metal on stone. "We're not alone," he murmured. Azarael's bow came up how close. Marcus's golden eyes narrowed close enough to mean trouble. From the ridge stepped the general, massive, broad-shouldered, encased in blackened steel etched with runes that glowed like embers. His demon-vised helm glared down the slope. In his gauntleted hands he carried a massive war axe dripping with oily black ichor. His voice was a growl of distant thunder. "Wolf Retriever, this ends tonight." Marcus's flaming sword slid free. "You're welcome to try." The general moved first. Fast for his size, the axe came down in a crushing arc that shook the ground. Marcus caught it on his blade, sparks flaring in the mountain wind. The general pressed forward, blow after blow, each one heavier than the last. Marcus ducked under a swing, driving a golden slash across the man's thigh. But the armor held. Azarael loosed arrows from the flank, each striking true, but failing to pierce. The general's head snapped toward him. He shifted the axe in one hand, and without warning hurled the other. Marcus saw it too late. "Azarael!" The retriever shoved Marcus hard aside. The axe hit him square across the ribs with a crack that echoed like splitting stone. Azarael staggered, dropping to one knee, blood soaking his tunic. Marcus caught him before he hit the ground. "Stay with me! You're not done yet." Azarael's breathing was ragged, his eyes, bright and clear even now, locked on Marcus. "Don't let him walk away from this." His paw squeezed Marcus's arm once, and then went limp. Something inside Marcus broke. The golden light in his eyes flared into blinding white fire. His breathing deepened, became a low, resonant growl that built in his chest like an oncoming storm. His sword fell from his grip, landing with a dull thud in the snow. The general hesitated. "What are you?" The Jericho howl erupted. It wasn't sound, it was cataclysm. The air convulsed with visible shockwaves ripping outward in all directions. The earth split open beneath their feet, fissures racing across the slope like lightning. Soldiers posted higher up screamed as the ground yawned wide and swallowed them whole. Mountains groaned and walls of snow and rock thundered down in avalanches, crushing entire ranks of the Shadow Court. The general staggered, his stance breaking for the first time through the slits of his helm. Marcus saw it, fear. And then Marcus was on him. Marcus struck the general like a falling star, driving him into the ground with earth-shaking force. His claws tore into the seams of the armor, ripping through metal that bent and shrieked under the assault. The general swung wildly, but Marcus caught the blow and crushed the arm in his grip. He lunged, jaws slamming into the man's exposed neck, overpowering him with savage fury. The general roared and thrashed, but it was useless. Marcus forced him down, tearing away his last defenses as the snow around them darkened. He pinned the warrior by the shoulders, overpowering him completely. The demon helm went flying when Marcus ripped it free and hurled it aside. The man's scarred face stared up at him, frozen in terror. Marcus drove his paw into the general's chest, armor splitting under the strength of the blow. He tore through the final barrier of steel and power, ending the battle in a single, decisive strike. For a long, frozen moment, Marcus stood over the fallen foe, breath steaming in the cold air. The storm quieted around him. Then his claws opened, and the last symbol of the general's strength fell to the snow. The body fell still. Armor shattered, nothing remained but ruin. Marcus turned back toward Azarael's snow, drifted softly over his friend's still form. He knelt beside him, Placing the bow gently across his chest, his claws hovered there, trembling. "You'll be avenged," he whispered, voice breaking. "I swear it." The wind moved through the peaks, carrying away the last echoes of the Jericho howl. And far away in the Shadow Court's stronghold, Kael would soon learn how his general met his end. A fate fierce enough to make even darkness tremble. Chapter 11. The Shadow Court's stronghold loomed against the storm-dark sky, its jagged towers like the broken teeth of some great beast. Marcus stood at the base of the killing slope, cloak snapping in the wind. Azarael's bow hung in his grip, a quiver of arrows slung over his shoulder, tucked inside his cloak. The scorched doll pressed against his chest, a reminder of why he was here. The gates opened. Kael emerged. The warlord's blackened armor drank the light, each plate etched in writhing runes. In his hands he carried the weapon Marcus had heard whispered about for weeks, the axe forged to kill heaven's warriors. Its edge seemed to bleed shadow, dripping black ichor onto the stones. Marcus raised the bow. The first arrow hissed through the wind, slamming into Kael's breastplate. Sparks flew. No penetration. A second arrow struck the shoulder plate. Nothing. Kael kept coming. Marcus loosed a third arrow. Kael batted it aside with the axe and broke into a run. Marcus dropped the bow, drew his flaming sword, and charged to meet him. They collided like hammer and anvil. The first clash rang out like a bell, gold flames sparking against black steel. Kael was huge, not towering like a siege engine, but every inch of him was power and weight. His axe swept in great killing arcs, each swing forcing Marcus to give ground or be cut in two. Marcus ducked under one swing, countered with a slash to the side. Kael twisted, catching the blade on the haft of the axe and shoving. Marcus backed so hard his boots slid on the wet stone. Is this all the wolf can do? Kael snarled. Marcus said nothing, letting his claws flex around the sword hilt. He fainted low, then came up high, forcing Kael to turn. The sword caught his helm and sheared away a strip of blackened steel. Kael's lip curled, and his riposte came in fast. The axe slammed into Marcus's guard. Pain jolted up his arms. Another blow, heavier, knocked the sword aside. Marcus barely sidestepped the killing swing that followed, sparks skittering where the axe bit into stone. The duel raged up the slope, their movements tearing gouges into the earth. Marcus struck at joints, weak points. Kael countered with brute force, his blows shaking Marcus's bones. Then came the mistake. Marcus lumbed in close, trying to drive the flaming sword through the gaps in Kael's armor. Kael caught the blade under the axe head, twisted and wrenched it from Marcus's grip. The sword tumbled down the slope, its light guttering against the stones. Marcus reached for Azarael's bow again, notching an arrow even as Kael advanced. The shot struck Kael's thigh. Again, it glanced off. The second arrow Kael swatted aside. Then Kael threw the axe. It spun through the air, a black arc of death. Marcus twisted, but not fast enough. The edge caught him across the ribs. The axe blow had torn deep, and Marcus's blood ran hot down his side. He could barely hold himself upright. Kael loomed before him, black armor gleaming with runes, axe dripping with his blood. Marcus tightened his grip on Azarael's bow, his last weapon, but his strength was fading. The battle cries of the Shadow Court echoed off the shattered slopes, their army closing in around them like a tightening snare. Kael's smile was cold. The wolf bleeds, it ends here. Marcus's knees buckled for a heartbeat. He thought Kael was right. The weight of his wound, the darkness pressing at the edges of his vision. This was the end. Then a voice cut through the noise. Firm, steady, unmistakable. Get up. Marcus turned. Azarael stood there whole, radiant, his golden fur haloed by the storm above. You, Marcus began. Azarael stepped forward, gripping his shoulder with unyielding strength. You are not done until heaven says you are done. Now, say the words. Marcus looked at Kael, the one who had burned villages, slaughtered the innocent, and dared to raise his hand against heaven's own, his golden eyes locked on the warlords, and he spoke. Thus saith the Lord. The wind stilled the world, held its breath. I will send the sword, the famine, and the pestilence among them. It was if the sky itself was talking, it was deeper, vast, the voice that had spoken light into being and called the stars by name. The mountains shook, the sky split wide, till they be consumed from off the land that I gave unto them and to their fathers. The words rolled like thunder across creation. The sun was blotted out, replaced by a vault of boiling gold and white fire. Lightning tore jagged scars across the heavens, each bolt striking with the weight of worlds. The earth convulsed, rending itself open in gaping chasms that swallowed the Shadow Court's legions whole. Mountains shuddered and cast down their own cliffs in roaring avalanches, burying the fleeing under tons of rock. The air turned to flame. The rivers boiled to steam. The sky rained fire. Each drop, a judgment. Black-armored warriors screamed as the light of heaven burned away. Flesh, shadow, and soul alike. The Shadow Court's banners ignited midair, curling to ash before they struck the ground. Kael staggered back, raising his axe in defiance, but the gold fire caught him. It peeled the darkness from his armor, burned through the runes etched in hate, and laid him bare. Marcus advanced, no weapon now, only the will of God burning through him. He struck Kael with claw and fang, each blow carrying the weight of divine wrath. Armor split, flesh tore, Kael roared, then choked, then fell silent as Marcus's claws tore the axe from his hands and hurled it into the chasm. With a final earth-shaking blow, Kael was driven to his knees. Marcus seized him by the throat and held him in the firelight. This is the end of you. The fire descended in full. Kael and every last trace of the Shadow Court was swept away, not defeated, but erased from the world, consumed utterly in the holy blaze. Silence fell. Marcus stood alone amid the ruin, the gold light fading from his eyes. His side burned with agony. The wound was mortal. His knees gave way and he collapsed onto the scorched earth. Azarael was there in an instant, kneeling beside him. Marcus's breath came shallow. It's done. Azarael's eyes softened. Yes, it's done. Marcus's gaze drifted to the churning clouds overhead. Then I die here. Azarael shook his head slowly. No, you cannot die as men do. Heaven is calling you home. Marcus managed a faint smile. Home. I've never been there. Azarael's hand rested over his. Then it's time you saw it. Light bloomed above them. Pure, warm, endless. It poured over Marcus like the embrace of something he had always known but never touched. The pain was gone. The weight was gone. Azarael helped him to his feet. Come on, Knight of Light. Let's go home. Together, they stepped into the radiance. And then they were gone. The battlefield was gone. The blackened slope, the shattered stronghold, even the drifting ash. All of it had faded away like mist before the morning sun. It was time for them to go home. Marcus stood in a place of endless light. The air was warm but weightless, carrying the fragrance of green meadows after summer rain. In the distance, a river shone like molten silver beneath skies so blue they ached to look upon. Azarael stood beside him, whole smiling faintly. "You'll get used to it," he said. Marcus's gaze swept the radiant expanse, heaven. Azarael nodded home. Marcus's paw drifted inside his cloak. He drew out the doll, still scorched on one side, its stitching loose, one button eye gone. It felt even smaller now, fragile in his grasp. A small voice spoke behind him. "You kept her safe." Marcus turned. Elsie stood there, whole laughing, her hair bright in the light, her eyes clear and free. She wore a simple dress, bare feet pale against the grass. She was exactly as she'd been the last time he'd seen her alive. Except now, there was no fear in her. He knelt slowly, meeting her gaze. "I tried," he said quietly. "You did," she answered, reaching for the doll. Marcus placed it gently in her hands. She hugged it close. "I told you she'd be safe," Marcus murmured, his voice thick. Elsie smiled. "I knew she would be. You're a knight." For a long moment, Marcus couldn't speak. Then he rested a paw on her small shoulder. "You won't ever need me to protect you here. But if heaven sends me out again, I'll make sure no one ever feels what you felt." Elsie nodded solemnly. "Then you'll win." Azarael stepped forward, resting a hand on Marcus's shoulder. "Come on, brother. There's peace here for now. Rest while you can. You'll need it." Marcus rose, giving Elsie one last look. She waved, the doll clutched tight to her chest. He raised a hand in return. As he and Azarael walked toward the shining horizon, Marcus glanced sideways. "You think they'll call us again?" Azarael's smile was faint but certain. "Oh, they will. The dark always comes back. And when it does, we'll be ready." Marcus's golden eyes narrowed, a wolfish grin tugging at his muzzle. "The next time, they'll remember both our names." The light ahead swelled brighter, surrounding them until there was nothing left but peace.